There are five, or have been five, national projects set up over the last few years, and they provide the principles within which we in Derbyshire have applied to our scheme. I think in our view it simply makes sense to ensure that the right services and people are working properly together, not only to meet offenders' needs, but to manage antisocial and criminal behaviour better. Everyone benefits, I think.
The people who are on the IOM scheme tend to be the people who commit the most crime. And so for us as a probation trust, whose primary purpose is to reduce reoffending in Derbyshire, having those people properly managed in an integrated way with lots of partners is absolutely key.
We generally work to 7 areas or services which research shows are important in helping offenders desist from crime. Now those 7 services tend to be accommodation services, drug services, alcohol, employment training and education, health and mental health services, finance, benefit and debt, and children and families.
The scheme in Derby City was set up originally September 2010 to focus on what we call prolific and priority offenders, PPOs. Now these people generally are those committing your higher volume, serious acquisitive crime.
There were a number of pilot schemes run across the country which were proved to be quite successful, but we were building on our former prolific and other priority offender scheme that we've had in the county since 2004.
Well, we think that this is a two-pronged approach. It's about controlling and managing behaviour, but it's also about rehabilitation involving access to the right services and to meet needs. So the integration is across community and custody, but it's also within a range of services in the community as well.
How many offenders are managed in a county scheme?
We look to manage a maximum of 300 offenders.
In the Derby City scheme at any one time, as a rule of thumb, you're looking at about 250 offenders.
What is integrated about the IOM scheme?
First, the key aspect of integration is that we're co-located, so my team at Ilkeston has a police officer working in the room with us, which is a very new thing for us and has been a great development for IOM. We're also integrated with colleagues in the prison, and then lastly we integrate with our partners via a daily tasking meeting. So it means that the whole thing between the 7 pathways can all link together quite closely. I think the other way in which it very directly can be a benefit is that it can mean they get access to services sometimes in a more speedy way than others.
One of the benefits from the offender's point of view is that they have a specific point of contact who they work with on a daily basis, weekly basis, that they're not having to speak to different agencies over different periods of time. So it's a coordinated approach that supports the offender and makes sure everything is seamless from their point of view as well.
What are the benefits of the IOM scheme in the context of community safety in Derbyshire?
Well, obviously reduced numbers of victims of crime in local communities, improved management of offenders, and there's a knock-on benefit as well to their families and friends if they're not reoffending. Better integrates offenders back into their communities.
So it's about agencies coming together and working collaboratively, the police, probation, wider agencies such as treatment providers and housing providers to work with this group of people to reduce their risk of reoffending.
Offenders benefit in multiple ways. Firstly, it disrupts their negative behaviour and their offending behaviour. If we do our work properly, we stop them reoffending, which for a large number of these offenders stops them going in and out of prison. A lot of these lads have got children, and this is really important to factor into the Troubled Families agenda. It's so vital for stopping the cycle of future offenders coming in through the door.
How does your work benefit the offenders?
The offenders have a point of contact, which is me within Nottingham Prison. The majority have either a drugs or alcohol issue. I also can help with benefits, the housing, mental health services, education, colleges.
Is there a benefit to having the probation workers with the drug workers when you come for your meetings?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Because it's always somebody to talk to, innit, or offload your problems or whatever, so yeah.
It's a lot easier and faster to get treatment if that's what you need. I think I've just got to that point in my life where that's it, enough's enough. time to pack it in. A lot more confident than I ever have been before.
Okay. What do you currently think about your offending?
Pointless, waste of time. I mean, they say 20, your 20 is the best time of your life, which I've probably wasted all that in prison more than likely. I'm on drugs, so I'm not really seen any of my 20s really, so it's one of the biggest things I regret really, you know what I mean?
Offenders at high risk of reoffending are closely managed by a range of partners, and they respond to new information on a daily basis in what we call daily tasking meetings. Those meetings are designed to prevent reoffending, or if that's unrealistic, then we take swift enforcement action if reoffending is taking place. That partnership working is really what's delivering the success.
But we've also set up local meetings on a monthly basis, what we call monthly panels, and they support the daily tasking meeting, and they report to the IOM Strategic and Implementation Group, which has ultimate responsibility for seeing the continuation of the scheme.
At our IOM panel, we always look at who's due to be released from prison in the next 2 months. We've got housing providers there at the meeting, we've got drug treatment services at the meeting. We all put a plan together, which I think it gives them a very joined up experience in which they can access services quickly.
I think ultimately we're working to encourage offenders to build what we call social capital, their ability to link into services in the community, and take more legal, pro-social rather than anti-social and criminal ways in approaching life. So that's what we're trying to do.
One of the key positives is the close work with the police and the local authority. And without a doubt, having police officers embedded in probation offices has made a huge difference to the information sharing. That's directly leading to fewer victims in Derbyshire.
For me, the key positive is the information sharing and what we do with that information. Intelligence is coming in far quicker than it ever did do, giving us the opportunity to act on that.
The police alone can't tackle and manage the offenders. It's the multi-agency approach and that sharing of information around the table on a regular basis, the gathering of the intelligence to actually change the behaviour of the offenders.
It's about using the resource of different agencies effectively to respond in a 24-hour real-time way to changes in the risks and needs of offenders.
In a way, I'd say out of 100%, I'd say they've probably gave me what can I say, 20% are helping me. But that's all I needed, you know what I mean? I didn't need like them giving me 90%, because that other 80%'s got to come from me, you see, so you've got to want to do it yourself, haven't you?
I go and have a conversation with the person in prison, find out how they are, what are they doing, what's gone wrong, what services they need, whether they're likely to reoffend. A lot of them are very scared about going out. They don't like to say, but it's because they don't know where they're going to go or what they're going to do.
And how did you feel about coming home out of prison this last time?
I'm full of emotion really, apprehensive, scared, happy.
Sometimes I'll visit them in prison before they're due to be released. I'll also see them when they first come out.
The other thing which actually works very well is the collection of prisoners from Nottingham Prison. When somebody's released, generally the first 24-48 hours is a very difficult time for them, and if they don't get to the services straight away they fall off. So we collect the prisoner from the prison, they know that they're going to be collected, and then the IOM coordinator, depending on what the needs of the offender is, will take them to any other appointments that are also set up for them on the first day.
You know, if they've been in prison for any length of time, it can be a big shock to them when they first come out. And we just want to make sure that they aren't going to cause any further problems.
Well, the most important aspect of the scheme is that there will be fewer victims of crime. We do need to listen to their needs and their expectations as to how we can provide support for them. And of course they tell us that they don't want the offence to happen again. So when we work with the offenders, that helps to reduce their cycle of behaviour and offending. It also feeds nicely into the restorative justice process. So many of our IOM offenders can become involved in that restorative process with victims to, of course, trying to reduce the number of crimes, which reduces the number of victims and makes the community a safer place to live.
We can see from the data that the number of serious crimes is reducing in the areas that have got IOM schemes, and that's got to be a good thing for people living in the local area.
We had a 28% reduction in the number of offences committed by the IOM cohort in the first year, and that's 192 fewer victims of crime.
When we last looked at a 12-month rolling period, there'd been a 26% reduction in reoffending, and that was 155 offences fewer committed.
IOM is still very much gaining ministerial support, keen to take it forward and to widen the breadth of offenders that we can manage on IOM.
We can't afford to retrench and we can't afford to withdraw our staff from these schemes because they're shown to work so positively. So for me in Derbyshire, we've got a future which is about building on what we've done so far, expanding what we've done, and starting to think about IOM in different ways.
What advice would you give to people in a similar position to yourself?
Don't be afraid to ask for help from probation and even police. They'll talk to you, they'll tell you what help you can get properly.
Time to grow up. Time to get yourself a life in it. It's not a life in and out of prison all your life, is it? As I say, it's a mud game. Don't class drug as a family member because it's not at all, you know what I mean? It can't give you the love and thingy what you deserve, you know what I mean? So